Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is my most recently finished sketchbook. I just finished it in November of 2025. I think I started it in October of 2024, so it took me about a year to fill this one out. It's an A5 size. I bought it in Italy, so it's kind of non-standard from what I'm used to. It's about 5.5 by 8.5 inches, roughly. I don't know what that is in centimeters. But yeah, I started off strong here with a black pastel pencil sketch. It's kind of a fun wolf, I'd say, and I just wanted to open up my sketchbook with something fun like that. Um, I really enjoyed doing this woman, especially the background. I was having fun with some sketchy like hatchwork. Over here on the left page, I just used some reference images from Pinterest. I believe that bottom left one is of gosh, that actress, I always forget her name, Sandra Oh. And then on the right side here were just some sketches from life while I was sitting in my town square when I was still living in Lido di Venezia. And this is the pastel pencil I was using. The brand was called Supermina, and I found it at a little Italian art shop down the street from me at the time, and I just fell in love with it. It was so much darker than a traditional pencil. Over here on the left is just another random portrait from Pinterest. On the right is kind of an image I imagined when I read this Carl Jung quote. You can pause it and read it if you like. I did also make a painting inspired by that sketch as well. And then this next page here, these were some sketches I did from life. I went to the gardens in Venice. You just take the Giardini Vaporetto stop, and there are all these beautiful statues in there and benches across from them, which is really convenient. So I would just sit and listen to a podcast and draw these statues. This next spread is just a random bunny rabbits. I think I just wanted to let loose or something, so I just kind of kept it simple and sweet. And I love this little one. I circled it in pink because it's my favorite one on the entire page. So cute. These are just some more statues that I sketched from that same garden in Venice. They're really beautiful. Some of them were damaged. You know how statues kind of lose their noses and small details over time, but I just drew them as they were. So off to the left was a sketch of a Bernini statue. Off to the right, I was just kind of learning the geography of the areas of Palestine, Israel, etc., because I was just trying to understand some things. Then some sketches just from Pinterest photos. I really enjoyed this little swan here at the bottom. I really liked this spread because it's very animalistic. Off to the left is this beautiful greyhound and a woman. I did that in this light blue colored pencil. I really enjoy it. It doesn't show up very well. And then I did these horse sketches with that same black Supermina pencil. Off to the left here, I did some winged lions, which represent St. Mark. It's kind of an icon of the city of Venice. So I just saw them all the time and I wanted to practice them because they were fun. These are some anatomy sketches with a hot pink pencil. I really enjoy coloring and drawing in colored pencil because sometimes I get bored with just black and white. This spread was all from one sitting in a little town square. I feel like if I remember it correctly, it was called Santa Margherita. Um, I just would sit there at this little cafe called Cafe Rosso and I would sketch for like 2 hours. This next spread, Pinterest inspired. I actually credited this tattoo design at the bottom. It's from Birdhouse Tattoo because I just really enjoyed the symmetry of it and the high contrast. This spread is from when I was designing a flyer for an event that I do twice a year um, in my hometown of Fredericksburg, Virginia. It's called Thrift World, and it's basically a big vintage reseller market, and it's so much fun. So this time the theme was inspired by Austin Powers, and yeah, it turned out really good. I really enjoyed this one. I think It's my favorite one I've ever done just because it's along the lines of the typical kind of groovy style lettering I do in my own artwork. So that one's just a palette that I taped in there because I thought it was pretty. These were some random marker sketches. That's of me and my boyfriend. Just trying to loosen up and have fun in sketchbook. Same thing here, just some random flowers from imagination. I really liked this one. The warm tones are my favorite. Just some more of these. I was just sitting down with my marker pack one night and just from imagination creating all these kind of graphic, fun, color schemy plants. I didn't like this one. I did like this one. A sock. I don't know. You know what? Sometimes you just have to fill a page. These were some colored pencil sketches of a painting I ended up doing of like a windswept juniper tree. We have a lot of them here in the Outer Banks, and I always found them extremely beautiful because they kind of just grow sideways. Here I was doing some sketching ideas for some Valentine's Day greeting cards that I was looking to do. Those are the final designs I did. One was inspired by Jaws because I live in a beach area, and the other one is just a Valentine's Day one. This is just a spread of great blue herons. I did these all in colored pencil. This is a tufted titmouse. In February, I did a 28 painting series of birds. And since then, I think, well, a portion, I think 10% of each of my paintings went toward the Nature Conservancy. So this year I've donated over $130 toward the Nature Conservancy through those paintings. So that was really fun. These are some oil pastel drawings of my cat. Uh, I really enjoyed these a lot, so I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. When I'm trying to be loose, I pull out the oil pastels. If I'm just taking myself too seriously, I pull those babies out and I color like I'm a child with crayons. And it's really fun. And I just get really loose and silly. These are interesting here, these red ones. Some of them are very questionable anatomically, but I was just having fun. So, yeah. I like this self-portrait. My hair looks crazy. This is a spread of bell hooks, Toni Morrison and Maya Angelou. I was just doing a series of literary figures that I love. I did end up doing a Toni Morrison sticker. It is available on my shop. Here I was brainstorming for a Mighty Minis gallery collection. The Mighty Minis is an art show that I participate in where you do 3 small 8x8 paintings of whatever you like. And I like to make them thematically cohesive. And this time I chose birds with like exploding stars behind them. Kind of graphic, bright, high contrast, lots of hot pinks and deep blues. I'll insert a photo in just a second of me at the gallery showing of those 3 pieces that I did. And I was just having a lot of fun painting a lot of birds this year in general. After doing the big February series, I just couldn't get away from them. I find them so visually dynamic and they're fun to make kind of more graphic. I find a lot of inspiration from tattoo designs for that, actually. Here's just a marker sketch of a chick with like a goose. Another marker sketch, a person kind of being subsumed by a seashell. Marker of a bison, I think. I didn't really like the colors I chose on that one. Another bird explosion, if you want to call it that. This one just looked really stiff and weird to me, and I think the color choices were bad. I liked these swans. Again, kind of looked stiff. I don't know what was wrong with me that day, but here I was sketching some ideas for a friend of mine, Leo. He wanted me to do a painting of him. This is him. This is the final painting, which is really funny. Um, These were some basic thumbnail sketches of a portrait I did. I just wanted to pick a background color. I ended up working out with a dark color in the background. Here's just a fun marker turtle spread. I really liked this pink turtle. This is just a quick little marker sketch of Patti Smith, who is an icon and legend. I love her so much. I read all of her books and I follow her on Substack, which is really fun. I hope to one day be like Patti Smith. This is another marker piece of some fishermen about to go out on the water. The water was so still in this photograph that I used for reference, and I just found it really visually interesting, especially the reflection of the boat. Here I was just sketching out ideas. I was going to make a lamp myself with wire and like muslin. I'm still working on it. Otherwise I would insert a finished photo here, but I only have done like 3 panels of the lampshade that I designed, which is basically just a bunch of like flower petals, kind of. You can see more of it right there, but more colored pencil sketches. I've always loved flowers, especially just kind of still life of flowers. If they're done expressively, I find them so visually interesting. A cat in a scarf with a leaf on his head. He kind of looks very royal and majestic. Then I went through a phase of continuous line drawings with gel pen. This is just a pencil sketch of Zora Neale Hurston. Another continuous pen line drawing over here of a landscape, 2 figures. I really enjoyed that one, came out well. Off to the left is a sketch, I believe, of somewhere in Rome. I did not take this photo, I found it online, but the layers of the landscape is what's most interesting to me. You've got like a walkway down by the water, you know, a little town square area, a big building, and in the back there's a lot of hills in Rome. So I find the landscape there really interesting. A random sketch of a woman, another continuous line drawing of a little cabin. On the left is a quick sketch of Anais Nin, who is a famous author I have yet to read. Another continuous line drawing of my neighbor's truck across the street. Some fun marker sketches. Sometimes when I'm really uninspired, I'll just look at Pinterest and draw like everything on the page and just combine it all into one big collage. Another series of random marker sketches. I like to practice lettering too because I end up using lettering in some of the graphic design that I do. I am more of a painter than I am a graphic designer, so I find that I struggle a little bit in terms of composition with graphics, so I'm trying to get better at that because I know it's one of my weak points as an artist. I like these little peaches at the top of that one. This is just a random minimal line drawing of a plant in the window. More just pen drawings. That one is of my cat in his little cat tree. And then off to the right is another continuous line drawing of a woman with 2 goats. I really love these. These are more continuous line drawings. The one on the left is of an orchid, and on the right, some tiger lilies. And oh my gosh, I just love these so much. I should have made these into a print or something. It's something about the layering of the line work that really gives it this dynamic look, which I really enjoy. This next spread, kind of not that cool, but I really like that quote from James Baldwin. Put that on the left, a random marker sketch. This woman street shopping for books on the left in pencil, on the right, just a little doodle. On the left here is just another portrait sketch with that same pastel pencil. I really enjoyed this woman on the left here. I had fun drawing the armor as well as her hair, which was a really good haircut. So that was really fun. Her sword is pretty sick, but I honestly struggle drawing swords because there's so many straight lines. On the right were some thumbnail sketches of a flyer design I did for the most recent Thrift World Expo in September. It was Matrix themed, which was really fun. These are just some more random sketches of women doing things, tending a garden, reading, walking down the street. A woman drinking a beer. Just more fun, loose marker sketches. I really enjoy just grabbing my pack of markers in my sketchbook and just going to sit down somewhere and just knocking out a few quick drawings. It really helps me feel like I've finished something, especially if I'm working on really large projects. I really enjoyed these landscapes of a marshland with marker. I think the colors are really bright and fun, just like this other sketch here of a big tree with some cars parked alongside it on the street. And then a woman with a dog. That one's ballpoint pen. Here I was drawing some thumbnail sketches for a series of paintings I thought I was going to do about the stages of grief. I never actually drew them. It was going to be a woman kind of underwater with like a fire in her chest or something, but I never made it happen. On the right here are some brown colored pencil sketches inspired by some tattoo flash. Of course, that left piece is inspired by Botticelli's Birth of Venus, which I actually have tattooed on my left arm. I've always loved that piece so much. It's my favorite rendition of the Birth of Venus. This one was just a quick unfinished sketch, also in brown colored pencil, of a grafted cactus I have. Never finished it. These are just some thumbnail sketches of chicks with swords. I did them in light blue, which it's kind of hard to see. But yeah, never did anything with those. I was brainstorming ideas for my next Mighty Minis collection here too, but I ended up deciding on women reading books. And this sketch right here in marker ended up being inspiration for one of the paintings, which I've already started. It looks like this right now. It is not done at all, but I was having fun with the hot pink underpainting, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. It's probably only like 20% there. This next marker sketch, I love. Her skin looks so radiant and saturated and beautiful in this. I love it. Again, just kind of thumbnail sketching and color scheming for that small collection. This is just a random bookmark from a bookstore in Wyoming. And then this is a quick sketch of the three Graces with a dark blue marker background. I thought it ended up kind of looking like a stamp, which I really enjoy. It kind of introduced this graphic aspect to it, and I loved that. This one, same thing, just a random portrait on Pinterest. I thought the pose was unique. A man riding a horse. I kind of foreshortened the snout of this horse, like its head should be longer, but I met the middle of the page and I didn't know what to do. This is a random picture of Banff, and then a marker sketch of a chick, very like Western oldies, holding a gun. And yeah, I really liked how that turned out. She kind of looks like a video game character or something. This is a bad painting of a great blue heron. He looks so silly and stiff, but it was just fun. I was getting loose before painting the other day. Some more marker sketches. That one on the left I'm really proud of. I was really layering up the colors, and it introduced like this level of depth that I don't usually capture with markers, though it's very possible. I usually just don't layer that much. And then last but not least is this final portrait. And I really enjoyed her profile, and I thought she was really beautiful. And that is it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe below. I am about to start another mini sketchbook, so stay tuned for that and check out the other 4 I've done in the past. Thanks, guys.